Overview: Remedium Guardians. The Vampire Survivors craze doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, and after hundreds of similar games, known as bullet sky shooter, auto shooter and a host of other titles, on PC and mobile our consoles are finally starting to get a good dose as well. After the recent console ports of the much loved Army of Ruin and Spirit Hunters, our consoles now featured a much larger no PC game called Remedium Sentinels, which replaces colorful fantasy with industrial destruction. Let's see how it holds up, shall we? Oh damn, here we go again. As is almost every such game, almost all of the story is in the game store description, with little to no in-game lore or story to draw attention to. Not really a problem, bullet to heaven. Shooting games, as I like to call them, focus on an ultra simple yet painfully addictive game loop, placing the player in an increasingly intense area full of madness AI enemies running towards them, with the player must move around them, kill them with a randomly selected automatic weapon and improve yourselves more and more. At first, this top-down roguelike formula starts off calmly, with a slow-moving character killing a couple of enemies at once at best, but it soon turns into a flurry of dozens, hundreds of enemies on screen at once, with player maneuvering and strategic upgrade choices that make the difference between long survival and quick death. All this will surely sound very familiar to many Vampire Survivor players, but Remedium Sentinels is more than just a clone, well, at least a little more. First, the game combines genre standard colorful fantasy with a dark industrial tone, with modern 3D graphics that deliberately use large polygon characters and giant pixel textures, making it feel like a mixture of 90D 3D game. And something much never. While the enemies and level design aren't particularly memorable, the characters are cool upgradable robots with heavy steps and nice attack animation as their ever-evolving arsenal gets faster, stronger and better. At first, the first level is a fairly normal desert landscapes and the default characters should be used to get through a 50 minutes barrage of enemies. Of course, there is help in the form of power-ups like bombs, ice blasts and health packs, along with basic XP collectibles and records. Set currency can then be used for permanent upgrades after dying or leveling up, both universally for yourself to increase health, attack speed and more, or specially for individual robots that the player has already unlocked. Passing this 50-minute challenge is not an easy task without upgrades, but the game certainly doesn't end there. Not only is an endless level option available, but new arenas and additional robots will also become available, either by beating certain challengers or by using nodes to unlock them. New weapons, powers and evolutions will also slowly enter the player's cycle, making the game more diverse along with its difficulty. You can even save a few civilians in the levels, which in turn unlocks additional content. Evergreen formula, with new weapons, a few additional game mechanics, different bosses and increasingly difficult stages, there is a lot to come back. But as someone who's probably tired over 100 games in the genre, Remedium Sentinels doesn't feel particularly unique, polished or overly varied compared to some of the best in the genre. While the variety of scenes, weapons and robots is pretty decent, the actual gameplay almost never fully develops, as ongoing improvements are very limited, and enemies and levels aren't designed in a way that truly tests players' adaptive skills. And with a lot of level geometry with questionable hitboxes, lots of on-screen elements with poor readability and an overall cheap delivery, Sobaka Studios' approach to the genre isn't exactly impressive and it definitely needs more polish and attention to detail in the game. But As it stands, Remedium Sentinels is a fun and cheap, only around $5, luxury little indie top-down roguelike game, but mostly because the formula doesn't require anything special to work and be fun. But given that even on consoles there are already much better alternatives, I can only recommend this game to hardcore fans of the genre who have already worn out Vampire Survivors, Army of Rain, and so on.